Hello and welcome back to Series 2 of The River. We're back for more fun and facts about our local rivers.
And in today's episode, we're going to look at biodiversity with a particular focus on ecosystems and habitats.
Wait, what? Ecosystems and habitats? What's the difference?
Alan, well, let me explain to you. An ecosystem is a large area of landscape where many plants and animals live together and interconnect with each other.
Okay.
A habitat, on the other hand, is simply any place where an animal or plant might live.
Okay, but how do they all interconnect? What do you mean?
Well, let's think about a river ecosystem, Alan.
Right.
In a river ecosystem, you might have willow trees, you might have fish.
Yeah.
But if you take the willow tree and place it in the river,
It's gonna die.
it's going to die.
Yeah.
In the same way, if you take the fish, place it on land,
It's gonna die.
it's going to die too.
So how do all those things connect and work together then?
Let me show you.
Okay, come on.
Let's picture the river ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay? So within the river, there's some shrimp,
Okay.
right? I want you to think of something that might want to eat the shrimp.
Okay.
Are
yeah.
you ready for this,
Yeah,
Alan?
ready. Go.
Right, we're going to free some string.
Heron.
Alan, think of something smaller, Alan. Heron's too big.
Oh,
Come
I
on.
suppose they don't really eat shrimp, do they?
No.
Okay.
Wouldn't really fill their tummies.
Okay, well you start that again.
Okay,
Take
let's
that-
so I'm gonna start off. Let's think in. Right, so shrimp. I'll go fish.
Okay.
Okay.
Shark.
Alan,
What?
something smaller. You wouldn't even find a shark in a river.
Where would you find a shark?
Sharks you find in salt water, not fresh water.
Different habitat. Okay,
Different
well then.
habitat.
Okay, well then you take that back.
Oh, Alan, we're all tangled up here.
Looks like it.
We're gonna need some help.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think we need to speak to Noreen from Loch Ness Discovery Centre and her team, who we met in Series 1.
Good idea. Better on the titles. Welcome to the river.
What on earth are you two doing?
Alan and I were trying to learn about ecosystems and we got a bit tangled up.
Is there anything we can do to help?
Get us out! Get us out, please!
Okay, I'll help.
So, what is an ecosystem?
An ecosystem is all of the different parts of the environment working together. So in any environment we have non-living parts and we have living parts. The non-living parts of an ecosystem will be the rocks and the water and the climate. There'll be things like that. And then the living parts will be the plants, the animals and the bacteria and the fungi. All the things that help to recycle nutrients at the end of their life cycle.
So what is the difference then between a habitat and an ecosystem?
Well, a habitat is much more simple. It is the place where a plant or an animal lives. Just like your habitat is your house, there you'll find water, you'll find food and you'll find shelter. For animals living in this environment, their habitat might be the river, it might be a tree, it could be some of the plants that are on the ground. There they'll find their food, they'll find a place to shelter, and of course they've got water all around them as well.
All the things that need to survive.
All the things they need to survive, that's right.
Whoa, this is amazing! So Noreen, what different species do we find in the river ecosystem?
Well, close to the river, the soils are all quite wet. And as you can see, we're in quite a heavily wooded area here too. So in a couple of weeks' time, all the leaves will be out on the trees and it's going to be very dark here on the woodland floor. A lot of the plants that you see around about us at the moment, these are plants that put up their flowers early in spring, and they're going to make the most of the sunlight before they're shaded out by the leaves on the trees. This little one in front of us here is called wood anemone. Pretty little flower with little droopy heads on it. The leaves always sort of spill out on sunny and bright days. Beside us then we've got some bluebells. There's some bluebell stems just over there. And we've got some lords and ladies on another just beyond them too. Yes, we plant called golden saxifrage here as well. So all of these plants, they're an important source of pollen and nectar for early emerging bees and flies and other insects as well. So they are very important in the whole ecosystem.
So Noreen has already spoken a little bit about the plant species that we find in a river ecosystem. Maeve, can you tell us a little bit about the bird species?
Yes, well there are some wonderful birds that you can see along the river. There's things like the grey heron. It's a big, tall bird with grey feathers and a big long beak and big long legs. And then we have things like dippers, and they have a sort of brown coloured body and a white chest. So you might see them bobbing about the river. Yes, and then we have the grey wagtail as well, and they're a lovely little bird. They have a bright splash of yellow and a bit of grey on top as well.
Some of them earlier on.
Yes.
So can you tell me, Maeve, then, why then do these specific birds live in a river ecosystem? Why do they come here?
Yes, well they actually fit in this river habitat really well because they like to eat a lot of the creatures that we would find in the river, and they have special features that they have on their body that help them to live and feed in this habitat. So yes,
Birds are designed specifically to live in the river habitat.
yeah, they are. Yeah.
Excellent.
So the grey heron, it looks for things like fish and frogs underneath the water, and using its long legs it stands really still, and it's quite camouflaged because if the fish are looking up they won't be able to see it with its grey colour.
Surprise them.
Yes, definitely. And it has this big long pointy beak, so it stands in the water watching patiently for these creatures to swim past, and then when it sees one it suddenly dives its head down with its long neck and grabs its prey.
And what about the dipper?
Well, dippers are a really unique bird. They can actually wade into the water and go right under and walk along the riverbed underneath. Yeah, and they eat lots of little river invertebrates like mayfly larvae and caddisfly larvae. So they have these waterproof feathers. They use this oil gland at the back of their body that they take oil out of and make their feathers all waterproof. So that helps them go under the water. And they actually have this special eyelid, a third eyelid, that helps them to see underneath the water. It's see-through.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is so interesting.
Kind of like windshield wipers. Yeah, they go under and they sort of swim. They have really strong muscles in their wings, so they flap them when they're underwater and grab on with their little perching feet onto rocks, and then they can stay under and grab their food.
That is amazing.
So you're really going to wear this?
On a sense.
Okay. Okay.
Right, know the drill.
Right, let's do a quick recap on ecosystems. So ecosystems are an interconnected landscape of habitats and species. Lots of species of, well, we're looking at a river habitat, so it could be fish and invertebrates and birds. Birds like the heron, for example. And those species have adapted to live in that habitat. So the heron with its big long legs so it can wade out into the water a wee bit. It's got a big long neck so it can reach a wee bit further. Big long beak, which is sharp, which means that there's no splash when it's streamlined when it dives down into the water, when it pokes it down into the water to catch the fish. And even its characteristics, even its behaviour, it tends to move slowly so that it doesn't disturb the fish that it's going to eat. And then it might stand still. You know, it's well adapted.
Funny, even the birds in our back garden are adapted to live in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't find a heron in our backyard.
No,
Well, unless you had a pond.
Of course.
But we have found little birds in the back garden.
Yeah.
Birds that like to eat foods like seeds and
Yeah.
insects and tiny worms.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So shall we have a look to see if we can find any?
Yeah, here.
Why not? Yeah,
Great.
I see binoculars are on.
Binoculars, let's go for it.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Look at that one.
What, up in the tree? Yeah. So that's a house sparrow. Oh, look. Down below it. The one with a wee scarlet
Oh, look at
face.
this lovely scarlet face and a bit of yellow on the back there.
Ah, that's a goldfinch. You see the way they start up in the tree and then they come down to the bird feeders like that? So those are goldfinches. You can see that lovely flash of gold on its wings. You can see it more when it's flying.
Oh, there's a wee blue-tit. He's
Blue-tit,
away again.
yeah.
He's gone again.
Where is he?
Well, I can see him there. He's got a nice blue cap and there's a robin.
Yeah, it is.
Look at the
Yeah.
lovely red breast.
Singing away. Singing away. Again, just check out that beak. Because that beak is really, I mean, it's really thin and it's quite long for a wee bird that size.
Look, what's that wee hairy yellow and black one there?
That's a bumblebee.
I don't mean the bumblebee, I mean the bird, Alan, the bird. There's a bird there.
Well, I tell you what, let's look in the bird book and check it out. Looks like it's a great tit. So lovely yellow breast down there, big black stripe down the middle, wee black skull cap, and then this lovely white cheek.
Alan, a good thing to do is to maybe create a survey that'll help you record the different types of birds that visit your garden.
Yeah.
What I was working on earlier was a tally chart. Brilliant thing to do. And anybody can do this. You can take an hour during the week on a particular day and record the different types of birds that visit your garden. In particular, the birds that visit your bird feeder.
Yeah.
Focus on them.
Yeah, and if you don't have a bird feeder, I mean, we can make a bird cake later on, and then you can hang that out, and the birds will still come to that too.
That's a good idea. A good way to represent the data collected in the tally chart is to graphically display it in a bar chart, for example. This is one I've been working on from the numbers we recorded in the garden. And as you can see, we've given it a good title, Bird Species Bar Chart. Along our x-axis, we have written the names of the different birds that we observed. And along our y-axis, vertically up and down, we've put the number of birds that we spotted. And the way I have done it, for each bird along the bottom, I have given a 2 centimetre long bar. And up the side, each number we see is represented by 1 centimetre. So far on my list I can see that the starling seems to appear to be the most common bird. I'm just going to show you how to complete the bar. Our number on our tally chart for house sparrow was 5. So all I do is take my ruler and I put it on my little dot and I draw up to where it meets the number 5 on my y-axis. Complete it and draw across. And then my robin, we only spied 1 robin, so that's not going to go too far up. So we'll just do 1 and 1. Now, that was the measurements that I used. You can use your own measurements depending on the size of the sheet of paper that you're using. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. You can use whatever measurements you require. Good way to finish it off is by actually colouring your bars in. So you can just take a pen and you can just start to neatly colour in those bars.
That's been great. There's been loads out there coming to those bird feeders. So it's dead easy. We didn't have to dress up in anything special. We didn't have to go out. Even we just from our kitchen window were able to see all those birds. I wonder what you can see in your garden or your local park. Why don't you let us know? Email at the end of the program and email your numbers to us. Now, just washed my hands and I've got all my stuff prepared because today we're talking about encouraging birds into our garden so that we can survey them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make some bird cake that you can hang up in the trees or around your fence or your garden and encourage the birds in. Now, I have in my pot, I have 140 grams of lard. I have some bird seed mix, and I have some cookie cutters, and I have some string. I have a bowl, a wooden spoon, and a teaspoon. Lastly, I have a tray and some baking parchment or baking sheet. So now we're melting our lard on the stove in a pot. So maybe you want to get some adults to help you with this, because it can get very hot. Melted fat or melted lard can be really, really hot and can be very dangerous. So be very, very careful. Don't spin it around so that it spits out. Just be very careful with it. And once it's all melted, then we're going to put it into the bowl and add our seed. Very carefully pour it into our baking bowl. Like that. Okay. And into that now we're going to add some seeds, not too many, and just mix it around so everything is coated. Yeah, definitely add a few more in there. And we want a dry and sticky mix. Not too sloppy, but you want to make sure that everything is covered in that lard, in that melted fat. Now if you go into B&Q or if you go into any other shop that's stocking fat balls for the birds, this is pretty much what it is. Just fat or lard melted down and then the seeds covered in that lard, and that just binds it all together. But it's great for the birds because it helps them, it gives them lots of energy and keeps them very healthy, particularly in the winter months. Now, that I'm very happy with. Do you see that? It's not too sticky, but it's not too sloppy and wet either. Now that I have all of that mixed, I have 3 molds here, and I have some string that I've cut out. And what I'm going to do is the looped end, I'm just going to put it into the mold like that. And again, the mold in like that. And into the mold just like that. I have lovely molds. I have a squirrel, a rabbit and a fox. And then I'm going to just spoon my seeds into the molds like this. Try and get it inside the mold, unlike me who's just spreading it around the tray. And pack it in. And over the top of the string, make sure you pack it in round the string like that. Pack it in nice and firm, like this, like this, over the string, pack it down, like that. There we go. 3 wee bird feeders. Put those into the fridge overnight, and once they're nice and hard, then tomorrow you can take those out and you can hang them on the bushes or the trees or the fence around your garden, and that means that will attract the birds down and they will eat the seed and break up the fat balls.
And for today's craft activity, we're going to be making a bird pencil topper. For this activity, we need a pipe cleaner, we need a nice thick pencil, we need some wobbly eyes, and some feathers. And also for the beak, we need some yellow card. For step 1, we're going to take the nice orange pipe cleaner and simply roll it round the top part of the pencil. So we hold it like this. We need to roll it tightly round. Right up to the top. The next thing we need to do is to try to decorate our bird pencil topper. So that's sticking on the eyes and putting on a beak. So I've got some nice yellow card here and I'm simply going to draw a little beak on it. So nice triangular beak. I'll take my pair of scissors and cut the beak out. Love triangles, easy shapes to cut out. Okay, we're just going to attach them using Pritt stick. So take our glue, a little dab of glue onto our wiggly eye. Push it down. Same for the other eye. And take our little beak, a little bit of glue, and here we go. And just to provide some finishing touches to our bird pencil topper, we are going to add some feathers to give it that nice birdie look. So we're just going to take some Pritt stick and we're going to put the glue onto the feather. Just attach it here. One. Steady hand for this. So hold it to the side. And there we have our bird pencil top.
So, rivers aren't just isolated things, they're not just channels of water running through the landscape. They're interconnected habitats and lots of species that specifically use this habitat to live in, just like some of those specialised creatures that Maeve was talking about, our grey herons, our grey wagtails, our dippers, and all the plants and trees and things that go into making up that habitat. All interconnected, all interdependent. So join us next time when we'll be learning how to navigate this river and also how to map it.